Content warning. This episode contains discussion of physical and sexual abuse, including on minors, and discussions of childbirth trauma and abuse. Listener discretion is advised. In an isolated desert 30 miles outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, a sprawling ranch sits alone atop a mesa. It has its own town, underground facilities, and one notorious former owner. What horrific things happened there? Why was it never searched? And why did a politician from Texas buy the place knowing what happened there? This week's episode is The Horrors of Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch. Sinisterhood. This is not the kind of place I would buy. If I was going to create a Christian retreat, I don't know that I would go, man, do you have a place with like a sex torture dungeon? And maybe I'll make that in my retreat. But I'm not Don Huffines, candidate for comptroller in Texas. So we're living different lives, he and I.
Oh, man. Don Huffines. He's having it his way with what was ostensibly a breeding ranch for minors to become impregnated in all sorts of horrific manners to hopefully have the, quote, perfect baby. If you fuck with eugenics, which I personally don't, but Epstein was a big fan of.
Oh, man, paying a couple grand to get your full exome, genome sequenced, all that kind of stuff. If y'all aren't from DFW, there is a series of car dealerships owned by this family, the Huffines family, and they're also were former state level. I believe he was a state senator and is now running for comptroller. And they have this theme song that goes, Huffines has it. And it turns out, is a baby ranch where they're making babies and raping children, it sounds like. And forcing them to give birth, and we'll get into all of that. But the way they even got the ranch was dastardly. The way Epstein got the ranch was dastardly. And the hours that you and I have both spent, and so many online creators, I just want to shout out right now what feels like we are all currently in one giant group project, and everybody is finding their part. I've seen some people that are like, I'm digging into this connection. And then someone will in the comments go, oh my God, I've been digging into this other connection. And that one guy actually branches the two together. And just the amount of amazing creators, including history_in_60, SIXTIE, who is in New Mexico and has firsthand gone out and looked at the ranch, and whose videos I've watched extensively. So shout out to everybody that's doing that.
Everybody is really doing it. It's like a group project where only the students care what the grade is, and the teacher has resigned.
It's like, please do not look into the answers to the test because they will send me to jail, is what a lot of them have said out loud. So
it is hard to keep up with everything. I have a whole book of like, and then this connects to this, but the amount of saved videos I have, because I'm like, man, this one little thing connects this and this, and like everybody has their hands in different pieces of the pie. When you really like, and I don't even think we've seen even close to the whole picture, but it's so much of it is incestual. And, it's like the same players, the same like dozen players that you see in each insert horrible thing that's being done here. You know what I mean? So like, first of all, Harvard, what the fuck's with y'all? Y'all are supposed to be some Ivy League school. Half your fucking staff's in these files and was helping him with all this shit. Not to mention Alan Dershowitz.
Dude, which new information is coming out today. A confidential human source gave a lengthy statement to the FBI implicating Jared Kushner as being a foreign asset who was recruited by Alan Dershowitz, who allegedly, according to this document, was also a foreign asset. So we'll get into all that in a future episode. But it is, as you said, as we pull the strings on this, and wherever this was operating at a state level, well, here, New Mexico, their internal politicians are all involved. This guy was the governor in the 70s, and then again in the 80s, and then again in the 90s, and then his son was in charge of this. And you're like, yeah, because you have to have people you can trust in charge, because otherwise they'll blow up your whole operation.
I think, isn't Huffine's son also in the Trump administration?
He is working currently in the White House. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Don Huffine's son, Russell. Him. Yes. So yes, the junior, the owner of the Epstein Ranch, works with the president. But as we'll start today, it's my understanding from recent testimony testimony from our sitting attorney general that Donald Trump is 100% innocent and was not at all mentioned. And there were not even the question with no credible allegations, but no allegations whatsoever, which I disagree with that given what I've read.
I don't know that I've ever experienced that level of rage watching that testimony of that. And I'm just going to say it, cunt, just sitting there with the smuggest fucking look on her face, refusing to acknowledge the survivors that were so courageous and brave to be there. The various Congress people several times were like, Attorney General, can you turn around and say something to the survivors, apologize, just acknowledge, I'm not going to be part of your theatrics. Like, so embarrassing, so unprofessional, so any lack of humanity. I mean, she's just like a fucking puppet. And when you look at like, oh, she was in one of Trump's pageants at 14 years old. He picks the people. They've all been groomed, as was Erica Kirk. You know what I mean? So like now she's in charge. She owes her whole life to him, to Trump. She's not saying shit to implicate him when they are going to throw you under the bus so fucking fast. And then you're going to go to prison because you 100% lied.
No, I mean, she did.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even your opinion. I mean, I think we all heard it. The question are there any allegations of wrongdoing by Donald Trump? And she just went, no. And it's one thing for you to go, yeah, they're all unfounded. They're crazy. But she said, no. And that's a lie because there are, because we saw them. And then unredacted the folks that have gone through and done their searches, which were tracked by the Department of Justice. There was a burn book created with the search terms and which documents that members of Congress went and accessed in the unredacted files, which is just 4 computers for 435 members of Congress to access. And I think there was a reason why they had it such a small number of computers so they could have keyloggers. I mean, they're just they're just spying on Congress, which I mean, Nixon had to resign for something similar. He was spying on his opponents, but it's still crazy the lines we've crossed that. You know, it's funny that by the Watergate standards, it's like that was like 18 months ago. It's probably 7 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like at this point, like, I don't think there is a line. We're so far past a line that we thought was, we all grew up thinking like, if you cross this line, you don't get to be president anymore. And that line just doesn't exist currently as much as it should, because we can't even see the line. We're so far past it.
No, we really are. We are in unprecedented times, uncharted waters, but hey, that means we have unprecedented options at our disposal.
I mean,
different things.
If we don't have any rules on how to handle these situations because they've never come up, then I think we get to make up the rules just like they're making up their rules.
Boom. We make it up ourselves, baby.
Well, the first rule I'm going to make is everyone has to tell Tommy happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tommy Lee Brown. As you're hearing this.
His birthday is today.
His birthday is the 17th, which the beginning of the year of the fire horse, I don't think that is at all accidental. I think that is a direct guidance from on high, whatever you believe, that we all need to embrace our Tommy Lee Brownness this next year. That we need to be unflappable, unstoppable. We're like, you know what? When we see a thing we love,
Taco Bell a lot.
I say we love things deeply and thoroughly and spread our knowledge to others, because I feel like Tommy is very generous with information. So I was trying to think of all the wonderful aspects of him that I think we should all try to emulate in this next year.
He puts others before himself. He is an advocate for humanitarian causes, rights, believes in equality and justice for all. So, you know, all the things that we hope everyone in our life models, but a lot don't. But Tommy does. So
Tommy does. He says the truth even when it's scary. And that's what we're doing today is we got a lot of truth to say. And someone today on Threads goes, I'm just telling people what I read in government documents and I sound like a psychopath.
Yeah, no, for real.
So just prepare yourselves.
I was at a party.
This is real. I
was at a Galentine's party and I was like, well, you know, they've got a ranch and they're breeding babies. And I mean, I'm like, but this is all like in emails. I'm not making this isn't speculation. There's like legitimate proof that this
joke
has happened, is happening. I'm looking at you, Don Huffines.
Huffines has it. And it's
they better have charges against them when all this is over.
But buckle up. I was also at a Galentine's brunch and everyone was just like, half of them listened to the show and half of them didn't. And the other half was like, I'm going to start listening now. And I was like, yeah, because it's a lot to go through and we'll break it down for you.
It is. And even with the episodes we're doing and then the offshoots of things that have come up through this, which are like topics on their own, but they're connected to this. I mean, we can have episodes planned out for the next year. That's how overlapping all of this just darkness and evil is within this group.
And seemingly unrelated cases as well. So we'll we've got a deep bench that we wish we didn't have. I wish none of the crimes were ever committed and that it would just be, well, there really wasn't anything in those files, but it's the opposite. It's like every page is a new horror.
It is. And I was talking with a friend at that party about how many people in our lives are, and understandably, everybody has their limits, but they're like, I just can't even look at it. I can't even look at like what's going on. And her and I were both saying it is hard to look at it. We feel a duty to bear witness to what these children went through, because if it's just hard for you to read about this, imagine a 10-year-old experiencing it.
And then being re-victimized every time you try to report on it, every time your reputation is smeared, your parents are threatened, they've been through hell, and standing behind the acting attorney general who is supposed to serve the people. And you've got your hand in the air raised because a representative has asked how many of you have the Department of Justice failed to meet with. And it was 100% of the victims, all with their hands raised. And the acting attorney general won't even look you in the eye, won't even apologize or make eye contact after some of the most gruesome. I mean, truly, anytime somebody's like, don't talk politics, I want a true crime podcast. This is the most criminal thing I've seen. It dwarfs it's just such a vast criminal enterprise. Al Capone. This is
all of the true crime.
It's Al Capone mixed with Watergate, mixed with the Ken and Barbie killers, mixed with BTK, mixed with Ted Bundy, mixed with like weird billionaire bunkers, mixed with, it is an amalgamation of like all the things we normally cover because it touches all the aliens.
Literally,
it's down to
giants
defense.
in Antarctica, like literally everything is touched.
Yeah,
from this, which is
it's wild.
It's wild to like learn that in real time in our lifetimes. I also find it to be kind of an exhilarating time to be alive, because I think that we are going to be part of the change. And one reason that I do want to bear witness to this is also to keep it being talked about, because that is what they want, is for everybody to forget about it and stop talking about it, because it is so heinous. You don't even want to read or listen to things. But the only way change will be enacted is to continue talking about it and have it in the news. And also, the more anyone talks about it, I think that emboldens people that still have yet to come forward, if they're needing that push to possibly come forward.
Like, we will believe you. We're ready to listen, and we're not going, that's all crazy. If I have to see another video of Ben Shapiro on my feed saying, the Epstein files don't matter. They don't matter. The Epstein files don't matter. Nobody even cares. Like, every American, it's like near zero on like what their, priorities are. They just don't care. There's nothing in there. It's totally blank. There's nothing in there. The Epstein files don't matter. I'm like, sir. Like, are we fixing to find, like, what are we fixing to find? You know what I mean?
About him?
Why are you desperately, like a cat covering up shit on a tile floor, desperately trying to protect these people? Donors? I don't know. Friends of yours? I don't know. But to me, it's one thing. Yeah. It's one thing if you say, I'm willing to take a look because this sounds outrageous, but I'm going to look and I'm going to analyze myself. But wholesale, The Atlantic publishing an op-ed, the Wall Street Journal publishing op-eds where any person who's publishing an op-ed going, there's nothing to see here, we got to keep our eyes on those folks. Just full stop. It's disturbing because
they're being blackmailed, paid, or they're in the files.
Threatened.
One of those three.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Or all of them.
Yeah. So with all that, I think the ranch is a vital place to start because as you listen to us describe it, it was never searched. Never searched.
No, and is still there. And all of its facilities are still there.
Yeah, and shout out to History in 60 who lives there and took video one day last week. And within 2 days, there were huge piles of dirt. The one day she took video, there were diggers. There was like some type of earth mover, scooper. And then days later, she went back and there was these big ass piles of dirt. And she's like, those weren't there. So
maybe they're looking for something or someone. I hope
the police out there digging. I think it's the owners out there
digging up things to move, perhaps.
You never know.
Well, I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's get into it. On a mesa in the high desert of New Mexico, 30 miles south of Santa Fe, sits a compound that federal investigators never searched despite 2 decades of allegations against its owner. It's Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch, a sprawling 7,500-acre estate with a nearly 30,000 square foot mansion, private airstrip, and underground facilities. While the FBI raided Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, Palm Beach estate, and Caribbean island after his July 2019 arrest, an email from a federal prosecutor in December 2019 confirmed authorities
had not searched the New Mexico property.
The ranch was sold in August 2023 to an undisclosed buyer for an undisclosed price, now revealed to be candidate for Texas comptroller, Republican Don Huffines and his family. His son Russell currently works in the Trump White House. Today, questions persist about what happened on that ranch over 26 years, why the state allowed it, and whether horrifying things are still going on there with the new wealthy and politically connected owner.
He does describe himself as a Trump Republican and a Trump loyalist, his own campaign materials.
And that's interesting. I was talking about this with friends too, is how, you know, in the 90s, you could be just Republican and people were like, okay, well, maybe we have differences. Now it's like, are you a Trump Republican or are you just a regular Republican? Because they've become a totally separate thing. MAGA is, I mean, I guess just an extreme, the most extreme you can get of right-leaning conservatives. But I think that's the first time that I can ever remember in my life of being like, well, are you like an Obama Dem or are you just like a regular Democrat? And it's like, we didn't have to say that then because this shit wasn't happening.
I graduated law school in 2015 and I talked with someone who graduated in 2025 and someone kind of asked her like, what's the political makeup of SMU? And she was like, I was really worried it was going to be like a bunch of like crazy MAGA Republicans going in. And I thought, well, when I applied in 2010, I didn't even think it like you said, it wasn't a consideration of like, I just assumed some of us will have political differences. We'll talk about it. We're all in law school. We're all there for the same thing. But there was not this like strange, obsessive ideological adherence where it is truly, I mean, it's funny that they use the word Trump derangement syndrome for people that do not ascribe to all of his policies when it's more deranged to not question the person that you're following.
Yeah. And that was another thing Pam Bondi liked to toss out about a dozen times was accusing various congresspeople of having Trump derangement syndrome. And it was so ham-fisted in there, and like she had these talking points she had to get to. It was so embarrassing to watch her just like not answer anything and then just regurgitate these ridiculous sound bites that she's been given. You sound unhinged. You're like, but answer the question that someone just asked you. No, I'm just going to say things that nobody was talking about and we're going to try and deflect.
It made total sense to me because she couldn't say anything without perjuring herself. And the one time she substantively answered, she perjured herself and turned super bright red and then started freaking out.
Don't you commit me of a crime.
Yeah.
Bitch, you just committed a crime. We all saw it and heard it.
But you could see her just turn bright red and everything. But every other question was a substantive question that she could either answer it correctly and put somebody famous or politically connected in a compromising position, or she could lie and then that would set her up for being perhaps prosecuted for perjury. So that was my theory, is that she was being as ridiculous and loyalist as possible so that she would avoid answering questions.
Definitely loyalist. I laughed out loud when she said, why aren't we talking about how President Trump is the greatest president this country's ever seen? I legitimately laughed out loud, like, girl, what? What are making believable?
The question's
at
like,
least?
we believe over 1,000 children were viciously raped and assaulted. And she's like, the Dow is at $50,000. And you're like, first of all, it's not dollars, it's points. And second of all, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. No, ma'am, this is a serious fucking thing.
Yeah, yes. That's not what we're talking about today.
Lady, I'm sorry you got raped, but the Dow's at $50,000. She's the second Trump administration official who said $50,000 with regards to the stock market. Sorry, I used to trade on stock market. It's irritating. It's just wrong. But I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You're just yelling off of cue cards.
No, I mean, she had notes in front of her, one of which was captured on camera, which is how everyone found out they were spying on the searches that they were doing, because she had a whole outline.
She's just holding up her paper like, and then of course the cameras zoom in on it like, ma'am, we can see the emojis that are in your Sinisterhood will be right back. Helix Sleep is a premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences.
I woke up today and just laid there thinking about my mattress and just how comfortable it is and how I didn't want to get up. And then I just thought, man, I am so lucky that I can work from this comfortable bed all day and this is like my desk, my soft Sunset Luxe Helix mattress.
The mattress where I'm like, man, I can't go back to sleep. No, with a Helix, I can, baby. And buying a mattress used to feel overwhelming, but you take the Helix sleep quiz. It makes it so easy for you. It matched both of us with mattresses that are based on how we sleep. And now, like Christy, I look forward to slipping in that baby every night. The delivery, super quick and free. Knowing that you have a 120-night trial, give you total peace of mind like it did me. And Helix has won tons of awards. You'll see why when you lay on it. It's literally one of the best upgrades I've done at the house.
Go to helixsleep.com/creepy through February 25th for their President's Day sale and get 27% off site-wide.
That's helixsleep.com/creepy through February 25th for their President's Day sale to get 27% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/creepy. Sinisterhood will be right back.
Back in 1993, Epstein purchased the land from former New Mexico Governor Bruce King, a three-term Democrat who led the state longer than anyone in its history. Bruce King's son, Gary King, served as the state's attorney general from 2007 to 2015, the very years when Epstein was most active at Zorro Ranch, following his 2008 Florida conviction. Campaign finance records tell a troubling story. Jeffrey Epstein donated $15,000 to Gary King in 2006 during his first bid for Attorney General, $35,600 to King in 2014 through 7 different shell companies, all registered to the same address in St. Thomas, Epstein's port for trips to his private island, $50,000 to Governor Bill Richardson in 2006, and $10,000 to State Land Commissioner Jim Baca in 2006. All 3 officials eventually returned the money, but only after media exposure. Gary King claimed he'd never met Epstein personally, saying only that Epstein
knows other members of my family better.
Between the donations and the returns, something remarkable happened. In 2010, while Gary King was Attorney General, Epstein was removed from New Mexico's sex offender registry. Authorities informed him he didn't need to register after all, citing a technicality in the law. New Mexico only required registration if victims were under 16, not 18 as in Florida. The following year, in 2011, Attorney General Gary King delivered a presentation to the United Nations about his fight against human trafficking.
So you've got a man standing up in front of the United Nations, having taken money from a sex offender, having tapped him on the shoulder and said, guess what, buddy? Good news. You actually don't have to register. And also, at the beginning, he bought the land from the guy's dad.
And my question, too, is the victims were under 16 at the ranch. A lot of them.
The issue is what he was convicted of. So he had been convicted of the solicitation of a minor in Florida, and the girl was 16. So it's not what he did; it's what he was legally convicted of.
Mm.
And since it was an out-of-state conviction, New Mexico said, "Well, we would honor it if the facts lined up." But it sounds like in New Mexico, let's change that law that they just had to be under 18.
Well, isn't that interesting that you would? I mean, granted, he purchased the land in 93, but connections and also just knowing the laws of certain states might help you pick where you're going to put your baby ranch at.
Absolutely. And also knowing that who owns all the land around you, and that, it'll stay pretty desolate out there, pretty lonely for as it still has to this day. It's like the only thing probably 12 miles in one direction and 10 miles the other direction to like any type of civilization. And then the other, and that's one road running through, and the other direction, it's nothing. It's desert. Nothing.
With all sorts of wildlife and harsh terrain. And imagine
drones.
You try and escape that place. And it's a literal horror movie. You can't run far enough before they pick you up and take you right back. And no one can hear you scream.
Nope.
Also because you're in an underground facility where literally no one can hear you scream. But also there's no neighbors around for miles and miles.
No, I mean, think about how fast somebody in a truck could drive, or I don't know if Ghislaine has a helicopter.
Dogs. I mean, bow
horses.
and arrow.
They
guns.
Did have horses out there. Yeah.
I mean, all of it. It's just, it's a lot of land to do a lot of stuff where you're not going to be bothered. And you know that.
Yeah, it's like having your own island, but in the middle of America.
Truly. Juan Rios, a spokesman for the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department, told reporters in 2019 that the department had never received calls from or regarding the property. Not one in 26 years. The property tax bill of approximately $109,000 annually was always paid in full. This silence is notable given what survivors and employees later described. Annie Farmer testified at Ghislaine Maxwell's 2021 trial that she was sexually assaulted at Zorro Ranch at age 16. Her lawsuit stated,
"She was alone with Epstein and Maxwell. She had no way to access a phone or other method of communication without Epstein or Maxwell knowing. She had no way of leaving."
South African survivor Juliette Bryant, who was brought to the ranch, recalled,
"Things happened there that scared me so deeply, I still can't even talk about them."
Much like his island, his Manhattan home, all the places he owned, the way these places are decorated is
garish,
a nightmare in itself.
Absolutely.
And many posit, and I think this makes total sense, that they were designed intentionally. So if children were to describe what they saw, it sounds so outlandish and outrageous that it sounds like a nightmare. It's also confusing to be like, well, I don't know. There were like these masks on the wall, and then there were all these underground tunnels. It's so crazy that somebody who isn't involved, who doesn't already know what's going on and is going to take you right back, is like, I really think you just need some therapy. It sounds like you've gone through something. Maybe you're having nightmares.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just making these memories up, or that it's exactly, you've imagined it. You've just probably something you saw on TV. And it's like, no, then you see the now removed auction video when this came up for sale. I think it's Sotheby's did a little like, welcome to this beautiful ranch in New Mexico. And it's like, lady, what are you doing?
Read the room, Sotheby's.
History in 60 had the footage and shows it, behind her on a green screen video. And it is stomach dropping when the drone pulls up and you see that it's not just a 26,000. I mean, it's nearly 30,000 square foot house.
Huge. So fucking
huge.
big.
You zoom out, there's a helipad landing strip. Separate from that, we got everything else. But the fact that how big it is, and it has it, they called it Ranch Central, and it's its own town. So where the employees work, there were like little houses there. Those little houses, some of which had themes. One of them looked like a ski lodge. One of them was called like the yellow house, the blue house. But then they straight up had their own fire department with the fire truck in it. That's where, you have power, light, all the water and stuff like that. So they had people working there, including Karen and Bryce Gordon, who was a New Zealand couple, and who locals have said were recruiting girls from exotic dance facilities. And where'd they go? Where's Karen and Bryce Gordon? And why aren't they testifying before the Albuquerque, before New Mexico, DC, somebody? But it's like, this was not, Ghislaine and Jeffrey were out there like shoveling shit. No, they had employees, and people saw shit.
Hundreds of thousands of employees at various estates that were involved, whether it be a pool boy, servers, someone setting up security cameras, phone lines, whatever.
A plumber.
It didn't take anything. You didn't even have to be looking for shit that was sus. You could just walk in and immediately be greeted by a neon sign that says, people like you should fuck people like me.
Oh, yeah, that guy. I just saw that sign. And what's his name? Phelan? He's currently still, I think, somehow related to the government. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, but he is. He's involved in the government.
I think he's the ambassador to somewhere right now. He's got a very disturbing art collection. Phelan is his last name. He and his wife. As did
Epstein. Very disturbing art collection. And, they're all fucking in bed together. But there are so many people that maybe they didn't commit actual assault, but they knew it was going on. They saw it was going on, and they said nothing. Or they tried to, and we don't even know about it because they were buried on a ranch somewhere. But to all those people that knew this was happening and you are still silent, shame, shame, shame. Come forward, do the right thing, and give more credence to all of these allegations, more testimony. I get that you're scared shitless because they got a history for taking people out that speak against them.
No, they do. I mean, it's a one of those balancing tests, right? Of like, maybe the Gordons, for all we know, did try to come forward, and there's some, shredded report in a garbage can in a paid off detective's office in Santa Fe or something, so it's hard when it really does feel like the untouchables. Like, it feels like we need like an Elliot Ness, somebody that's like totally unrelated, because otherwise everybody's related to everybody else or knows somebody else, or you got paid, or you kind of do them a favor and you go, we don't want to like rock the boat. They pay their taxes on time. It's like, there's a sex dungeon. Somebody do something.
And they pay their taxes on time and give you a bunch of donations so you don't come looking this way.
Exactly.
The ranch's isolation was by design. Staff controlled all access. State land officials were routinely refused entry to inspect the 1,200 acres of public land Epstein leased at a discount. In November 2019, Eddie Aragon, owner of the Albuquerque radio station Rock of Talk, received an anonymous email from an encrypted account claiming to be from a former Zorro Ranch staff member. The email alleged that its sender had videos corroborating explosive claims. 2, quote, foreign girls died by strangulation during, quote, rough fetish sex, and were buried in the hills near Zorro Ranch on the orders of Jeffrey Epstein and Madam G, believed to be Ghislaine. Aragon forwarded the email to the FBI at the time and said he received assurances they would investigate and report back, but he never heard anything. The email was later included in the DOJ's January 2026 Epstein Files release, which prompted New Mexico officials to call for a new investigation.
I don't know him outside of the Epstein investigation, but this Eddie Aragon fella is very fixated on what happened there and has been, it seems, for a while. I mean, multiple years. And this email is wild that he received, that basically the sender said, I've got a flash drive and I've seen some shit, and send me a Bitcoin essentially in exchange, and I'll give you what's on the flash drive. Because Eddie had been publicly saying, I'm investigating this and not wanting to obstruct or whatever. I think he did the right thing. It's what I would advise a client to do, is say, send it to the FBI. What you don't know is that the FBI is engaged in a fucking massive cover up.
Now, if I received information now,
I'd go on the internet immediately.
I'm not going to the FBI. I'm going live. I'll live stream it and just read it word for word.
I don't have enough money to pay the Bitcoin, but I'd be like, if you want to go like do a dual live with me, I'll let you on the air.
But this is what I'm talking about. Like, people that worked there, this person was like, holy fuck, and knew enough that like, I got to keep track of this because at some point this is coming out and I need to let people know. And then, you do what you think you're supposed to do. And it's just like a horror movie. They take you right back.
They're like, yes, I'll put it in the special file, and it's a fucking garbage can.
Yeah. And now you're on a list of someone who has seen and knows about shit.
I mean, honestly, why do you think this person anonymously went to a DJ and didn't call the FBI? Because if you see Bill Clinton on the ranch, or you see the attorney general, or whoever, I mean, you see somebody who's way, way, way beyond you, you're like, they're never, I mean, what am I going to do? They're going to kill me too. So I might as well send it to this DJ. Why he didn't just straight up send him the files and stuff, or I probably would have done that if I was really afraid of but you try to make a little scratch off of it.
Trying to make money.
Maybe try to leave the country.
Yeah. I know so little about Bitcoin. I don't even know how much one is worth. What is that?
Like $50,000.
Okay. Still don't understand how it works, but
I think we can cover it in a future episode, but it is
honestly,
a scam. It is a scam.
I can't. My brain will melt. Anytime somebody brings up Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, I immediately leave the room. I can't handle the conversation about it.
Made, planned, funded largely by Jeffrey Epstein.
In 2021, Aragon obtained architectural plans for Zorro Ranch dated 23 years prior, in 1998. They showed a massive underground area of approximately 8,000 square feet, containing exercise rooms, massage facilities, jacuzzi areas, and 3 unusually large, quote, mechanical rooms. An architect and IT contractor who worked on Epstein's internet communications and security from 1999 to 2007 provided inside photographs to Aragon. The contractor claimed the rooms were packed with computers and video equipment. Maria Farmer, a former Epstein employee and survivor, alleged the rooms were used for Epstein's surveillance network, recording guests like Prince Andrew, who housekeepers confirmed visited the ranch in 2001 for 3 days. Farmer told reporters,
all of Epstein's residents had these mechanical rooms and tunnel systems. I know this because Epstein told me. These rooms were enormous, bigger than houses. Which, yeah, I mean, if it's 8,000 square feet, you could easily have a 1,000 square foot, house, or 2,000 square foot that it's all just videos and audios and connectors.
Videos in every room. I mean, 100 monitors. It shows you what's going on at all times. Lockdown buttons.
Dude, I didn't think about that.
Buttons to open other things, to release things. Who knows? But this is a common thread that everywhere he lived, there was another underground place he also lived. And the more you start to dig into all of this, you see, and we covered it in our Billionaire Bunkers episode, there is a whole underground world all over the place that us normies are not privy to.
Yeah, and I mean, you watch the footage of this house, the drone footage of saying, look at what a beautiful house this is. Pay no attention to, they don't say this, but you can see in the footage, there are these big ass grates. Like you would have to have, if you have an underground facility, you have to have exhaust,
air,
right?
Yeah.
Air coming in and out, whatever. And I'm like, so, I mean, it's not debated that there's a big fucking underground facility because you can see where there are all these. It makes you think of when you go to a college and there's like the bookstores underground. So then when you go around that part of the building, there's these big ass grates. I mean, it's like industrial size. It's humongous. He absolutely wanted to have information on people, and I think that was one good way to do it, as well as you just keep tabs on everybody as well. Kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, watch, and also for your own perverse gratification of why do you need why do you need cameras in every single bathroom?
Yeah, perverse stuff. And or somebody's on the phone in the bathroom or sneaks in there going, I'm in the bathroom and they're keeping me at this ranch. You got to help me. Well, it's like, guess what? I can hear what happens in the bathroom too. I can hear you everywhere. Sinisterhood will be right back. Now we've got 3 little dogs now, and the youngest, Philly, is fitting in with the pack. It's so cute to see when she's snuggling with the goose or when she's playing with Buffy. And I just think, you've only been with us like, I don't know, a month and a half, 8 weeks or something. I just envision all the little adventures that they go on together, and they're just a little trio.
Our pets are so important to us. We cover everything else in our lives, our cars, our phones, even our trips. But our pets, they deserve that same protection. ASPCA Pet Health Insurance helps you be ready for whatever life throws at your pet, whether it's a chewed up sock or an unexpected vet bill.
And when you enroll in an ASPCA pet health insurance plan, you could get a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a little treat for you while you're doing something great for your pet. The plans are customizable to fit your budget and your pet's quirks, and it's been around nearly 20 years, helping almost 1 million pets.
To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/creepy. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/creepy.
Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit aspcapetinsurance.com/Amazon terms for more info. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. Sinisterhood will be right back.
The contractor also described a detail he could never forget. In the basement elevator hallway hung a 6-foot portrait of Ghislaine Maxwell, completely naked with her legs spread, holding a golden dagger. It was the first thing guests, including teenage victims, would see descending to the basement.
It's my understanding it was sold as is. So Huffines has it, and he has, and
you mean the ranch was sold as is?
The ranch was sold as is to Don Huffines and his family. I'm like, do you have the Ghislaine dagger portrait? And if
Absolutely.
so, where? And can we see it? And what did you do with it? And why do you still have it? And why did you buy the place that's hanging in the basement? Who's going in the basement going, you know what? Yeah, I'll take it. Like, who sees this?
I mean, my theory would be nothing has stopped at this ranch. It's just under different management. And I'm not saying that's Huffines. I'm just saying, why would you have all of these things and not, if you're not going to do anything with them, you know, millions, billions of dollars worth of equipment and shit. You're just going to like sell it off?
It all seems fishy. And I do agree with you earlier saying that there are oddities about the decor, because this definitely would fall into that. I think there are also weirdo perverts that just think that they look good and stuff like this. But you're going to the police going, okay, now when you get to the bottom of the stairs, the lady that was holding me captive, okay, there's a huge painting. She's naked. She's got a dagger, but it's the one that was holding me. I swear it's her. And they're like, okay, kid. All right. I mean, it really does. It's like makes you sound like you made it up.
Yeah. No, it's so outlandish. It's hard for a regular person whose mind isn't warped to grapple with, which is why I think so many people are struggling right now, is because of all of this information that has come to light. And, you know, a lot of people have been aware for years that this kind of stuff goes on, and people that are just now kind of getting a look at it and like seeing the worst of the worst in these emails. It's a hard thing to reconcile that we've all just been living our lives while such heinous abuse has been enacted upon the most vulnerable of people. I mean, we're supposed to protect the children, and they are doing everything. They're exploiting them, raping them, killing them, eating them, etc., for their own personal gain. That's a really hard thing to reconcile and not feel like you're losing your mind.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where, like, I think I knew conceptually about what might happen. Like, theoretically, might be what happened. But then to read, you know what I mean? Stuff I wouldn't repeat on the air because I don't want to put it in everybody's brains. But you're just like, oh, and it's not just like one person is hurting one kid. It's like photo just depicts 6 to 8 men standing. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird, group, horrific kind of stuff. So it is a lot to stomach, certainly.
Yeah. And observe, don't absorb. And if you're going to be triggered by pictures, audio, even reading stuff, you know, protect your own mental health. I will say, if audio and video and pictures trigger you, don't go looking, because there's some stuff that I wish I didn't know, but I do know now. And I only wish I didn't know because I wish it didn't really happen. I'm glad that I do know what's going on,
because of reality.
Then we can put a stop to it. And also that these victims at least know I believe them. I believe what's happened. I've read what those journals heart-wrenching. It's beyond. So just, take care of your own mental health when you're going through these things. But even if you can't dig into them like we are, or even listen all the way through these episodes, just know it is happening. It has been happening for centuries. And the evil is all starting to now be exposed. So when stuff gets exposed and it seems crazy, you just have to know, oh, it is crazy, but it's also true.
Yeah. And I really consider having no preconceived notions when I take in this information. And that is not only, well, it must be true, or I don't know, it sounds pretty crazy. It's like, for everything I read, I'm like, I'm open to the possibility, and that take care of your mental health. I hit 100 miles in already of running this year, because that's what I do whenever I get stressed out. So that's what it's doing to my brain.
Nice. I just doom scroll more.
I got to get away from it and run away. I'm like, I ran 9 miles. It's like, get away from your phone for 2 hours. But truly, it does a number on you. So take care of yourselves too.
Mm-hmm. The architectural plans revealed other oddities. The 30,000 square foot mansion had only 4 bedrooms, an unusually small number for a house that size. Epstein's main bedroom consumed most of the first floor. Every room, from closets to bathrooms, featured a vestibule, or what Aragon described as holding areas, for victims before they visited Epstein.
I think it's all designed to his taste, and that's what he wants, and have a little area. Yeah.
They've all got weird fucking taste. The richer you are, the worse your taste gets and weird shit. And I don't know, maybe they're all trying to out weird each other and creep each other with weird shit.
Look how avant-garde I am.
Yeah. And, or, you know what I mean? A lot of the art that he has is like from famous artists. It's just fucked up art. And you're like, why were you painting that?
Yeah. He's like, give me the worst thing you've ever made.
Mm-hmm. Public records from the Albuquerque Journal raised additional questions. Year after year, legal notices announced that Zorro Inc., Epstein's company, wanted to change the location of a well, dig deeper into new aquifers, or relocate the well again. In 2018, Epstein's company filed permits to discharge up to 10,080 gallons per day of reverse osmosis reject water into a synthetically lined lagoon for evaporation. The company's stated use, water desalinization and treatment. But neighbors and investigators asked, why did the well keep moving? Why would Epstein need so much water if he wasn't actually ranching? The property showed no signs of the livestock operations that supposedly justified his state land leases.
Yeah, it was even back into like 2004, I saw an alert that was like, we're going to be dumping water off. And it's for a otherwise quiet, I mean, it's called a ranch, but it's not like they had 100 head of cattle or, pigs or chickens or whatever. It sounded like from the emails they had some dogs. It sounded like they had a handful, 1 or 2 maybe horses, but they were not running like, okay, we've got to have enough water to make sure that 100 cattle that are grazing out in the desert, are drinking. So what medical reasons? I don't know. That's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. On December 6, 2018, 2 events occurred simultaneously. First, the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan began a new federal investigation into Epstein for sex trafficking. Second, one of Epstein's companies wired $4,373 to Gemini Seawater Systems for 6 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid, or 330 gallons total, plus freight, insurance, and materials, allegedly for reverse osmosis systems. The timing has fueled widespread theories that the acid was ordered to destroy evidence or remains, especially given that John George High, the acid bath murderers in 1940s Britain, used sulfuric acid in 45-gallon drums to dissolve at least 6 victims over 2 days. I believe Jeffrey Dahmer tried to do this as well.
I saw it on Criminal Minds once, so that was the only reason why I knew about it.
The FBI conducted extensive searches of Little St. James after Epstein's July 2019 arrest. Documents show no forensic evidence of chemical disposal sites or dissolved remains was reported. The coincidence of dates remains striking, regardless of the ultimate purpose of the purchase. The ranch and surrounding land still has never been searched.
I mean, it's complete conjecture, but if you had those delivered anywhere, you have a fucking huge plane. You could just move whatever you want, wherever you want it. You have private airstrips. It's like he could. I don't think it's unreasonable that the same day they tell you that they're investigating, you make this order. Maybe it is a coincidence. Roger Stone, for his part, said we were using it to make meth. So I think that was a joke, but I don't particularly joke about stuff like that. But Roger Stone also has a big tattoo of Richard Nixon on him. So,
well, there you go. When State Land Commissioner Stephanie Garcia Richard reviewed the ranch's public leases after taking office in 2019, she found the supposed agriculture use was mostly fiction. In September of 2019, she canceled Epstein's grazing leases, citing 3 reasons: obstruction of state inspections, written misrepresentation, and the Attorney General's conclusion that the company
may have obtained the leases through illegitimate means for purposes other than ranching.
Commissioner Garcia Richards said,
"This land was no doubt used to protect the privacy of Epstein and his co-conspirators. And also get tax breaks from the fucking state by saying like, oh, we're using it for public reasons." Like, again, it's just one more loophole that you use because your buddy is in charge. And then when your buddy's not in charge, suddenly it's like, wait a minute. And it's like, I got to leave town. Like every time.
Yeah, everybody loves to get a tax break by saying what they're doing is something they're not. Cults saying they're a religious organization, or religious organizations just using them not on the up and up. When Epstein was arrested in New York in July 2019, New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas, who has succeeded Gary King, launched an investigation. Documents obtained through public records requests showed the state interviewed victims, collected flight logs showing more than 90 flights to New Mexico airports between 1997 and 2006, and gathered extensive evidence. Unlike Epstein's Lolita Express airplane, which kept detailed flight logs, Ghislaine Maxwell's helicopter flights were not as documented. She was a licensed pilot who ferried guests to the ranch, but the passengers were not cataloged. Arrivals and departures were conducted in secrecy. In a 2020 letter to federal prosecutors, then Chief Deputy Attorney General Clara Morin wrote,
"We believe that this ranch was used by Epstein and others to facilitate the commission and prolonged concealment of his trafficking of children. I ask that any interests belonging to Epstein's estate or co-conspirators be seized by federal authorities." This is right. You should do this. You're doing it the right way. And yes, there are flight logs that say ZOR, which is the Zorro Ranch airstrip. There are other flights that are going into Santa Fe, and then from Santa Fe, they would be picked up by Ghislaine's helicopter. So people flying into Santa Fe or flew commercial to Santa Fe and they got picked up by Ghislaine, we wouldn't know. Like the records of who visited the ranch are way scanter than any of the other ones, because the other ones, they would put their names on the manifest and everything, and Ghislaine was like, hop on in.
Yeah. And I mean, when you're the one running it all, then you can just not answer to someone that you're like, that might enforce checks and balances, like a pilot of an airplane that has a job on the line.
Right. If you have a third party that's involved and you have to either hide stuff from them or threaten them or pay them off, it's like way easier if you're just the one flying people. Sinisterhood will be right back.
Cravings aren't just about nicotine. They're about the habit, the hand-to-mouth motion, the oral fixation, the momentary pause. When that loop is broken, cravings spike. Fume replaces your habit with a flavored air fidget device that gives your hands and mouth something to do, distracting cravings without nicotine, vapor, or batteries. Don't just try to quit. Upgrade the habit loop. Reach for Fume instead. We recommend the Journey Pack, which comes with the Fume device plus 6 delicious flavors.
And the Fume device is super easy to switch out your flavors if you want to try a new one. When you hold it in your hand, it's a nice thick cut. I feel like I can fidget with it. It keeps my mind. If I'm thinking about something else, I like to have that in my hand. And it's just some satisfying about the physical fixation as well.
Absolutely. When you grab a Journey Pack, you'll also get a free gift for just using our code CREEPY.
Fume has already helped over 700,000 people take steps toward better habits. And now it's your turn. Use our code CREEPY to get a free gift with your journey pack. Head to tryfume.com. That's TRYFUM.com and use code CREEPY to claim your free gift today. Sinisterhood will be right back.
The federal prosecutors in New York asked New Mexico to halt its investigation. Former Attorney General Balderas explained.
They communicated to us that they were already leading an active multi-jurisdictional prosecution.
After Epstein's death in August 2019, the state investigation stalled. No criminal charges were ever filed in New Mexico. The ranch was never searched. The evidence from those underground computer rooms, if it still existed, was never collected. In 2024, current Attorney General Raul Torres announced a new investigation into financial firms that facilitated Epstein's activities. But questions about what occurred at the ranch itself remained unanswered until this recent release of documents.
I think it gives us insight into the FBI in 2019 as well, that New Mexico said, hey, we're digging into it on our side. And instead of going, yeah, send us everything you got, dig deep, let us know what you find. They were like, you don't need to look at anything.
Mm-hmm.
We've got it. We're on it. And then 6 months later, he's dead and we actually never searched the ranch. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yeah. Which to me would say whoever it got handed off to was told, don't look into this any further.
I mean, truly, I think that's what's in those a lot of the unreleased files that we have not seen as internal communications that show that it was just kind of like, let's leave this.
Yeah,
Let's just shut it down.
He's on a list that we don't investigate.
Yep, they said we can neither confirm nor deny he's with an intelligence asset. I'm like, you just confirmed it, baby.
If you can't deny it, it seems like you're confirming it.
Hang on a minute.
The New York Times reported in 2019 that Epstein confided to scientists his plan to
seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his vast New Mexico ranch.
He allegedly planned to have 20 women pregnant at the same time at the ranch. More than mere fantasies, Epstein spent years cultivating relationships with geneticists, transhumanists, and scientists interested in human enhancement. The ranch's isolation, extensive infrastructure, and unusual facilities suggested he had the means to attempt such a project. Victim testimony and recently released documents reference what some have called baby farming operations, though the full extent of Epstein's activities remain unclear. Documents from the newly released files reveal a detailed technical plan for altering human germline cells, allowing parents to select heritable traits in their offspring, a form of designer baby technology banned in most countries. Epstein was working with a Ukrainian laboratory on what documents describe as
mouse testing
for these experiments. At that lab, emails reference conducting trials, recruiting human, quote, volunteers, and making, quote, measurable progress toward creating the first human with genetically modified reproductive cells. In November 2018, 8 months before his arrest, Epstein claimed he'd achieved breakthroughs in human cloning technology, writing that he was
closer to cloning, which doesn't require injection into the biological father,
suggesting he had moved beyond conventional reproductive technology.
Just today, I found emails between him and Brian Bishop as he was telling him about what was happening at the Ukrainian laboratory. Brian Bishop has come out and since said, I didn't take any money from him. I wasn't really related. I don't know, man. A lot of emails.
Yeah.
You tell me. But he's claiming he was like not. There was a lot of like the tone of Brian Bishop's emails were like, hey, boss, I got an update for you, boss. Yeah. Like that's kind of what it came across to as me. I came across as to me. But one of them was, Tokyo passed this recent law or Japan passed this recent law. And in Tokyo, there's a place that you can create designer babies. And Epstein's like, do you think any of those rules would apply to me if I went out? Like he was essentially trying to jurisdiction shop where he could do this.
A pitch deck in the files described experiments on human volunteers to create
the first human with transgenic sperm,
with pre-orders being taken. Epstein obsessed over blue eyes as a sign of intelligence, actively seeking blue-eyed women for trafficking, and even cataloging science convention attendees by eye color. Epstein also told Prince Andrew he wanted,
I want to start cloning things. Me.
Modeling his vision on the repository for germinal choice. He wanted a similar operation at Zorro Ranch and to have his head and penis cryogenically preserved to continue his
genetic legacy.
The penis? Don't you just need the balls?
I don't know, man. I don't know if that was just his own personal ego, if it's got some sort of weird woo-woo thing to it that he believes there's some sort of power in his head and penis, if it's
his egg-shaped dick that we've heard about.
Egg-shaped penis. I'm down another rabbit hole about he was very close friends with the famed gender-affirming care provider out of, I don't know if it was NYU Hospital, who was the subject of a documentary even, and who would ask Epstein for money to help produce this documentary about him and the great work he was doing, gender-affirming care on patients. But then also Epstein was going to see this guy. And for some reason, so some wondered if it was some sort of penile reconstruction surgery or something, because he seemed to be very sensitive about his weird dong. And it was not only once or twice mentioned. I mean, it's mentioned there's famous footage of him being asked about his egg-shaped penis and ripping off his mic and jumping up and leaving a deposition. But then like from victims, they're like, it was weird. Like, I don't know, it was this guy with a weird penis, or all I remember is this like weird penis. So I think it's kind of a, it's something that's consistent among reports.
Epstein donated up to $120,000 to Humanity Plus in promotion of transhumanist advocacy and cultivated relationships with Stephen Hawking, Oliver Sacks, and Nobel laureates to gain access to elite scientific circles, despite being a convicted sex offender.
Y'all gotta turn money down sometimes.
Oh, man, there are pictures in the files of Stephen Hawking at the island, surrounded by girls, and I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, it's strange, the group that he cultivated, but he would, I've seen it myself in the emails. He would be forwarded an article about something or someone, or be forwarded a medical report or a new scientific report, and then kind of be like, how do I get in touch with this person? So he would kind of like, I see it, I want it, I get it, I have it. Like, would just in his head go, oh, I wonder if that could help me. Oh, I'll call him over for lunch. And the people wouldn't turn it down. It'd be like, this billionaire who could fund all of your research for the rest of your life. You're like, I'll go. Doesn't mean you got to go to the ranch though. Or it doesn't mean you got to go to the island either. Money
really motivates a lot of people to do a lot of heinous things. But to your point of, he could just call anybody up. He could. Like, it would be like, if I could just, you think of like, oh, you know what I'd like? Sushi from that one place in Tokyo that makes the best sushi. Someone's on a plane bringing that to me, and just a snap of my fingers. But with anything and all the illegal heinous shit.
You're like, I want them to be this height with blue eyes and play piano and whatever. And they would find a way to find that for you.
Which also lends speculation to the LifeTouch connection. And LifeTouch is the company that for so many years has taken yearbook photos of every children in the United States and continues to do so.
In Canada, too.
They are the company that does pictures at Ellis School. So they're still very much a thing. And many have speculated, why would anybody want pictures of all of the children in the United States? Well, I think you could look at them and see what color eyes and hair they have. Maybe there's notes of like things that they excel in. There's the whole GATE program, or gifted and talented program, where you can see what children are good at. And as crazy it is and upsetting to think this information, which we think is personal, could get to someone like Epstein, it absolutely could and did.
Yeah, I mean, with LifeTouch, they've come out and said, we take student privacy completely seriously. We have FERPA. We have LifeTouch itself was created 90-something years ago, but it was acquired by a very close friend, and in my opinion, should have been a co-defendant of Epstein, but definitely someone who has been repeatedly, credibly accused of extreme sexual violence. His name is Leon Black, co-founder of Apollo Asset Management, which is a huge private equity fund that owns not just businesses like Shutterfly, through which it acquired LifeTouch, but also hospitals, also real estate, also, I mean,
ADT.
Look it
security
up.
companies.
Yeah. So a significant, it's almost as if we should not live in a country where a handful of private equity companies own everything that we consume and do and use. But that is unfortunately the truth of it. And in this case, the private equity fund that acquired every single picture of your kid and actually every single picture of all of us, because that means they have 18 age progressed years pictures of me because they took my pictures every year. So again, for business defamation purposes, out loud, they have said repeatedly, your pictures don't go anywhere. They're totally safe, everything like that. Will there be a lawsuit from parents? Will there be an internal whistleblower come forward? I don't know, but it's something definitely to consider as this news is out there.
Parents are definitely already contacting school boards about it. I've seen it. Yes, they came out with that statement. I mean, okay. What are they going to come out and say? You're right.
Listen.
We've all been sending all this to the baby farm so your kids can be used as, test subjects for this horrible shit. Of course not.
No, I mean, it's very legalese, corporate, whatever, but that is their current, that's what they've said so far. So I think it's going to be up to somebody defaming them and them getting sued and then, going to discovery or, like I said, a whistleblower, somebody on the inside that knows.
Jeffrey Epstein's disturbing fascination with genetics went far beyond his publicly reported interest in spreading his own DNA. Newly released documents reveal he spent years recruiting cryptographers from intelligence agencies to what he envisioned as a biological Manhattan Project in an effort to fundamentally reshape human DNA. Dropsite News aggregated newly released files that reveal as early as December 2009, Epstein reached out to Daniel Dubno, a CBS News producer who previously worked with DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency responsible for developing emerging technologies for military use, and the Department of Homeland Security. Epstein asked Dubno to
find me the top hacker codebreaker, NSA type,
to assist in analysis of proteins. That same month, Epstein contacted MIT parallel computing pioneer Danny Hills with an identical request.
I'm looking for NSA quality code theorists. Biology at every level involves a host of Alice and Bob interactions, authentication, signal processing, noisy channels.
Alice and Bob are common placeholder words in cryptographic theory and reveal Epstein's view of cellular communications as an encryption problem waiting to be solved.
So again, it's like you have this idea of like, oh, I bet if you could crack this, you could perfect human DNA. Who could crack that? Well, I'm just going to reach out and find the smartest code breakers ever. And these people who owe me stuff, I owe them stuff, pay me, I pay them, have information, or they're just buddies. They're just friends of mine. Well, send me the people that I need. Like you and I have, wild fantasies or whatever. This guy was like, I'll just send an email and then it would happen.
Yeah. I think a lot of these people too, are buddies and all that, they also know who he is. And if I help him out when I need help with whatever, because he literally could get you whatever you wanted or get you out of whatever, then you got him as, a person you can call.
Good person to do a favor for.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you, it was for all the wrong reasons, but that's truly why so many people were willing to work with him.
I mean, it's true. It's like, this guy's like too good to be true. It's like, no, he is. All the money, everything, it's all just raped kids. So I hope you enjoyed all the benefits you got. Like all the people that were like, I didn't ever rape kids. I was just friends with the guy. And it's like every nice dinner you had, all the concerts you went to, whatever. It's like, that's all built on a pile of bones. Sinisterhood will be right back. You've heard us talk about Hungry Root before, so you know how much we love it because it truly simplifies both our lives. It is such a game changer. It saves us time, does the food shopping, and tastes so freaking good.
Hungry Root makes healthy eating effortless by planning your meals, stocking your cart, and delivering everything you need each week, all tailored to your dietary preferences, health goals, and budget. The personalization is unmatched, and they take care of the guesswork so you can just enjoy your meals. With over 50,000 chef-crafted recipes, many ready in under 15 minutes, and over 1,000 grocery items from smoothies and salad kits to sweets and supplements, it's easy to find food that fits your lifestyle.
Quality is a top priority too. Hungry Root screens out over 200 additives and only works with trusted, clean label brands. You'll find high quality meat and seafood with no hormones or antibiotics, organic produce, and non-GMO options from names like Vital Farms, Ithaca Hummus, and Harmless Harvest. And if your New Year's goal is to eat better, Hungry Root makes it actually stick. Even as February and March roll around and resolutions fade, this is one healthy habit that's easy to keep. And they do make it easy. You just tell them up front, like, I'd eat this, I don't eat this, I want this, I don't want this. And they tell you kind of, this is what you can get. You can switch stuff out if you want. I like it.
I love it. It makes it so much easier than going to the store. I do not like meal planning. I find it to be a time suck. So the fact that they do it for you is a game changer. And everything we've ever gotten from there is great. There's snacks. This Ithaca hummus, so good. I had some granola the other night that I ate the whole bag because it was so good, but I didn't feel guilty about it because I was like, this is good for me too.
Hell yeah, man. If it's from Hungry Root, I trust it. And their sauces, man, they got something going with them sauces. They're so good.
You're going to love Hungry Root as much as we do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/creepy and use code creepy. That's hungryroot.com/creepy, code creepy to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
In an email to a redacted recipient in August 2012, Epstein wrote,
My biology gurus at Harvard all agree that the signal intelligence used by the various agencies could be put to work on breaking the DNA code or protein signal problems. Breaking foreign codes is the expertise of the US and NSA.
Epstein regarded the human genome as a cryptographic puzzle. He sought to apply the same techniques intelligence agencies use to break enemy communications, to decode and ultimately manipulate the signals between living cells.
He was into this idea of like cloning, gene mapping, moving, swapping, special like cutting and pasting of things in this perfection, longevity for himself, both. I don't know.
Yeah. Wasn't Hitler into that too?
Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Yeah, no, Jeffrey Epstein was real racist too. Yeah. We're about to get to, but yeah, in addition to all the rest of his shitty qualities.
Yeah. Creating this perfect baby, which was essentially an image of himself, perhaps tweaked to do things that he, couldn't do or have attributes he didn't have, like a normal looking dick.
Yeah, right. He's like, the whole time he's like, I just need you to map the egg penis protein and then remove it from my body. And they're like, it's not going to grow your regular dick back. He's like, get over here. Do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
They're like, okay.
It grew into an egg because you're rotting from the inside. Yeah. And that's just like your body telling you to fucking stop.
You're literally a demon that walks among us. Your feet will turn cloven soon if you don't escape.
Yeah. Has anyone seen him barefoot? I guess, because they were all giving him foot massages. Ugh.
Yeah, dude.
Ugh. The amount of times I've seen his bare feet in Ghislaine Maxwell's lap.
Nasty
I'm like,
both.
What? Like, apart from Tommy, and even then, I'm saying no. I'm not giving feet massages to people.
I don't want feet all on touching me or nothing. They're nasty. Nothing. All of human bodies are pretty nasty, but feet particularly, they touch the ground.
Yeah.
Don't get your nasty, sweaty feet in my face.
I don't want anything to do with them.
No, he's grotesque in every way.
In an interview with Steve Bannon, months before Epstein's death, Epstein revealed that he had purchased the New Mexico ranch, intending it to be a research facility. He planned to attract the nation's top scientists from the former Manhattan Project campus in nearby Los Alamos after the U.S. government cut funding for high-energy physics at the end of the Cold War. Just as the Manhattan Project harnessed physics to reshape geopolitics, Epstein envisioned a biological equivalent that would reshape humanity itself. For the next decade, Epstein continued to recruit engineers from U.S. national security entities, including DARPA, to his genome hacking project. He also asked Catherine Rumler, the White House attorney who had handled the legal fallout from the Edward Snowden leaks, to help him source cryptographers from the National Security Agency. Epstein wrote,
Can you find a guy from NSA that can think about signal intelligence applied to DNA? I want to intercept communication between living cells in organisms.
Rumler just resigned from her role at Goldman Sachs on Friday, February 13th.
Her last day will be June 30th, but she called him Uncle Jeffrey. She was like best friends with him. Crazy business. But
it's crazy that you can resign and then your last day is still months away. Like Goldman Sachs, what are you doing?
They're like, we're too busy trading all this pedophile money. Hang on. We can't get rid of this lady. She also said she got she said, oh, they gave me a CIA award today. And I'm like, huh, that's a weird thing for a lawyer who's not somehow an intelligence asset to get an award. I don't know. That's weird stuff. But she's one that I have not dug too much into. But she did have connections. She had DC White House connections, NSA connections. So if you're looking for somebody who can decode what our cells say to each other so that you can manipulate them on a global level, that's definitely a good source.
You're playing God.
That's what he wants to do.
It's interesting. All of these people that you're like, well, why would he contact her or why would he contact him? And then you're like, what if they're all assets and assets know who other assets are? So they know like, oh, if you're contacting DARPA, hit up this person. If you're contacting the NSA, hit up this person.
No, I do. I think there are people who I have no proof of this, but I'm going to use him as an example because we just talked about him. Chris Dubno, this guy, Daniel Dubno. They're like, he worked at CBS News as a producer. And before that, he worked at DARPA and also at DHS. And also he's a contributor to Huffington Post and also this. And also there are certain assets, Robert Maxwell being one of them, whose job is not to, James Bond and go in and do dastardly things. Their whole thing is reputation and narrative management. So if you're Robert Maxwell, you own the textbook companies, McGraw-Hill, you own newspapers and things like that so that you can ensure that whatever master you serve does not have negative press or whatever. So that extends to if you're an asset for the United States, if you're an asset for Israel, if you're an asset for Russia, whatever. They're all kind of trying to do the same thing for their own teams. But I think it's also little like, wink, wink. You know how it is when you're a working guy like me. And it's like, yeah, I work really hard for my guy too, but we can help each other out. We're allies, right? So I think there's something to that a large number of the folks that are in these files, I don't want to say a large number, but some number of them are intelligence assets. And it's like desperate for the underlying countries. They're like, no, we don't want them to be revealed. But I think we all need to reveal it.
Yeah, because those aren't the people that I want as assets for the United States, people that are willing to do all this shit.
No, also like all of your covers are blown. Hello, everybody that was fucking with Epstein, that was in the Epstein files. It's game over, homies. We know. We see your names in there, the unredacted ones, the elected officials. We know. You start quitting. I mean, more people quitting. The guy, the Pritzker fella stepped down from being in charge of Hyatt hotels because his name came out. Like, we need more people stepping down.
You can step down, but you need to be charged.
And then after that, we put the cuffs on him.
Yeah.
Right now. But no, I mean, I think it is, if you were an intelligence asset, you don't get to do that anymore. You're bad at your job because we all just found out who you are because you're emailing Jeffrey Epstein.
But it's an even larger problem that the U.S. government, at the core of it, this is what their assets are finding out for them.
It is disturbing to think that our 3-letter agencies, although I don't know that it's like out of character for them.
No, I think they're all corrupt. I have no faith in anybody anymore, except all of you, people like us that are on the good side.
I'm like, you're normal, right? You see this is crazy, right?
I mean, really, that's how I have to start conversations. I'm like, we're all on the same page that this is all like insane. And this is the biggest child sex trafficking ring that the world's ever seen, right? We're all on the same page there. And if I get any hesitation or, well, then we don't need to be friends. We don't have anything to talk about. In late 2012, Epstein had sent the same request to Boris Nikolic, Bill Gates' top aide, asking,
do you have any contacts at NSA that we can use de-encryption in biological systems?
Nikolic replied,
yes, there are not many places where I do not have someone. Wink.
Again, they can't even help themselves because they're so egotistical about, and they want to brag and show off of like who I know, what I know, the connections I have. But yeah, they're emailing all of this stuff. I also think they thought we're never getting found out because the top at the top is protecting us. So, but eventually people die, things happen. Like, you're not going to be protected forever. And now, hopefully, we'll see a shift.
I hope so. But yeah, he was out working for Bill Gates being like, yeah, I'll get you somebody.
Yeah. And Gates also in the files. And his ex-wife has been very outspoken about Bill Gates's relationship with Epstein and how much she detested Epstein.
She was right.
Oh, absolutely. Women know. You tell me. She said the second she met him, she felt this darkness like she's never felt from somebody before. And she is a grown woman.
Trust your gut.
The documents reveal Epstein's interest in genetics was linked to theories of racial superiority. In an anonymous essay recovered from Epstein's files, titled
Africa, Parasites, Intelligence,
the writer mused that
for Africa, the environmental factor is parasites, disease, known to exert a strong negative effect on intelligence.
Epstein discussed with German cognitive scientist Joscha Bach the possibility of genetically modifying Black people to make them, quote, smarter, with Bach writing in July of 2016.
If I understand correctly, you are suggesting you might be able to make Blacks smarter by changing the time for motor layer development. Joscha Bach can fuck off into the moon because there's a picture of him. It's a screenshot of Epstein's desktop while Epstein is FaceTiming with someone whose face and their kid's face is blacked out and redacted, but you can match the background and also his headphones, and it's definitely this guy. And why were you FaceTiming with your kid in your lap to Jeffrey Epstein? I don't know. That's just ... Yeah. That's a thing you did that you can never undo, because I saw a screenshot of it. And just so you know, if you're ever like, it was innocent, he said, let me see the kid. Bitch, he screenshotted your child. It was in the files. So even if you innocently put your kid in front of that pedophile, you innocently put that kid in front of your pedophile.
Yeah. And there's no innocence when you know who he is. All of this is taking place after his conviction. Like, everyone knows who he is.
Years after his conviction.
Why would you have your child anywhere near him? Why, if you had children, would you be having anything to do with him?
Nope. Why are you helping him out with his weird racist gene editing plan?
In the final year before his death, Epstein supported a biolab in Ukraine for the production of
designer babies,
led by hacker Brian Bishop. On July 21st, 2018, Epstein wrote to Bishop,
I have no issues with investing. The problem is only if I'm seen to lead.
Bishop wrote back,
I've always envisioned there would be an anonymity requirement about babies. We can't publicly identify who these are or their parents or benefactors. It would brand the child as essentially and sadly a freak for life in the media.
Epstein's genetic ambitions were supported by relationships with elite scientists and institutions. He funded CRISPR research at Harvard through geneticist George Church, supported MIT's gene editing work through the Skoltech partnership with Russia's Skolkovo Innovation Center, and maintained ties to figures developing diagnostic technologies and cryptocurrency systems he believed could revolutionize both finance and biology. The newly released documents indicate Epstein viewed himself as an architect of human evolution who believed intelligence agencies' code-breaking expertise could unlock the secrets of DNA and allow the deliberate engineering of, quote, superior human beings.
I think he also wanted to live a long time as well, like the stem cell type of stuff that a lot of these wealthy people are interested in, and neonatal stem cells is something that can be reprogrammed to cure you of anything that you might have wrong with you.
Harvesting of organs, updating your organs as you see fit.
Yeah, wealthy. I mean, truly, it's like, well, it's fine that it's a human. I just need the juice out of it. And you're like, that's a human, though. And they're like, well, we made it in a dish. It's not real. You're like, what? That's a human, though.
The, quote, volunteers named in the documents have never been publicly identified, but the new files shed light on the horrors that happened to them at the ranch. Deeply disturbing journal entries from a teenage victim reveal she was being used as what she called
a human incubator.
The victim's coded diary, provided to investigators by her attorneys at Wigdor LLP, details multiple forced pregnancies beginning when she was approximately 16 years old. According to her entries, the pregnancies are part of Epstein's goals at the ranch. In one harrowing entry describing a birth, the victim wrote,
close your eyes, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't speak. She doesn't talk. I can't stop shaking. The doctor was different again. I think from Israel. He had kind eyes, but didn't speak directly to me. Ghislaine said to push all the pain away. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of these tiny cries. I'm so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached its tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes and no more tiny cries.
The victim later wrote,
In the hall, Ghislaine said she was beautiful. She was, not is. She was a beautiful girl. I heard her. Where is she? Why did she stop whimpering? She was born. I heard the tiny cries. I can't do this anymore.
According to the journal, each newborn was removed within approximately 10 to 15 minutes of birth. The victim wrote that she was never told what happened to the babies. The diary includes ultrasound images, one dated at 20 weeks of pregnancy. Next to one scan, she wrote,
She is gone and she won't be coming back.
So they're taking these babies immediately. And then what?
That's the question. And the word pregnant comes up a lot in these files. And there's a number of women, like there were people that were kept, young people that were kept, but there are also free walking women that would message Epstein and be like, I'm pregnant. And he would be like, yay. Or like, I'm pregnant. Come to my baby shower. I'm pregnant. Like keeping him apprised, which I'm like, why would you keep him apprised that you're pregnant? You know, like why would Epstein care that you, so I think he had this type of thing going on, other women out pregnant with their kids. And there was I don't know whose it is because it's all redacted, but there was a ultrasound picture dated 2024 in this set of files. So I'm not sure who that belongs to. But this man was, taken, he had sperm saved at a cryo lab in California that filed documents that said if I die, they should go to my estate. So his estate would have the rights to his genetic material.
Heartbreaking to think that this 16-year-old, this is not the first time this has happened to her and probably wasn't the last. And just the unimaginable trauma of being pregnant at that ranch, of being kept wherever you're kept, still being abused even while you are pregnant, having your baby taken from you. And what they did with her, I don't know. I don't know why you would have children pregnant to have babies and then immediately dispose of the babies. I have a couple theories. But who knows where those babies went? I think to various things, or they weren't what they wanted them to be in the end. And so they disposed of them.
Yeah. No, that's something, the danger of having an isolated ranch like this where there's no birth certificates. There's no, we're not registering anything and they are in the wind. Anything could happen.
Yeah. I mean, they could be teenagers themselves still at the ranch, pregnant themselves, I mean, where does the cycle end? If you don't have any record that this person exists, then it's real easy to just keep that hidden and have them do whatever you want.
No, truly. And for whatever reason, Epstein had multiple passports with his picture and different names in different countries. So if you have whatever access got you that identification, you get that for somebody else, if you want to take them out of the country or use your private plane.
Yeah.
Sinisterhood will be right back. Every group has someone who insists on doing things the hard way. That friend still paying for a subscription they forgot they had. That one refusing to update their phone because it still works. We used to be people like that too, especially when it came to overpaying for wireless. But then we switched the show phone to Mint Mobile, and I'm very glad we did.
Oh, yes. Stop paying way too much for wireless just because, that's how it's always been. Mint exists purely to fix that. Same coverage, same speed, just without the inflated price tag. For a limited time, get 50% off 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. You can bring your current phone and number over to Mint. No contracts and no nonsense.
When we went to set up the show phone, it was literally could not have been easier. Mint sent everything we needed, told us we could keep our own phone and our own number, made it seamless. I didn't even need to bug Paris to help me. I did, but I didn't need to. And he wasn't even upset because it was he's like, this took 2 seconds. Why'd you need me?
So easy. And bringing your phone with all your contacts, of course, nobody wants to start over. So they take that out of the equation too for you. Ready to stop paying more than you have to? New customers can make the switch today, and for a limited time, get unlimited premium wireless for just $15 per month. Switch now at mintmobile.com/sinisterhood. That's mintmobile.com/sinisterhood.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. Additional terms apply. See mintmobile.com. Sinisterhood will be right back.
The victim's entries also reveal Epstein's eugenic ideology behind the forced pregnancies. The teen girl wrote,
I do not want to be tied to Jeffrey for the rest of my life. Playing piano well is not a good reason to think someone has good genes or should have a baby. I am too young and he is too old. The piano and music components are made to convince me that this is right and will create perfect offspring. He calls them superior gene pool. Why me? My eye color? My eye color? I miss the person I was before I was made into what feels like a human incubator.
Additional entries describe the psychological toll.
As long as I am wearing what you want, there is no respect for me as a human. I am nothing but your property and incubator.
One redacted email from September 2011 found in the files appears to congratulate Epstein on the birth of a baby boy, though the sender's identity remains unknown. The victim in these diary entries has filed a lawsuit under the name Jane Doe against Leon Black, an Epstein associate and former CEO of Apollo Global Management, alleging sexual assault. Black has denied the allegations. The fate of any children born through this alleged program remains unknown.
I got to think about how scared this young lady is who went through what she did with Leon Black, which was extremely vicious and vile, went through this multiple times, it sounds like, at the ranch. And you think you had a rough day, a rough life even. I mean, how do you put one foot in front of the other? It's very courageous, brave people.
Yeah. And I hope Leon Black dies screaming. That's some of the most horrific descriptions of sexual assault I've ever read.
Yeah. And he's, a billionaire, makes every lawsuit go away. So he has never been convicted. He's never been civilly held liable or responsible. So literally at this point, all we have are these many victims screaming into the abyss who've reported it to everyone we tell you to report it to, which is the federal government, local authorities, private attorneys, and what happens when it's a big brick wall made out of money at every turn.
It seems like a wall that you cannot climb.
Meanwhile, hypothetically, there's a fucking vampire man running around who likes to eat parts of kids, allegedly.
I think there's a lot of them.
You know what I mean?
On Monday, the New Mexico House voted unanimously to establish an investigatory subcommittee examining the activities of the ranch in Santa Fe County. The Bipartisan Truth Commission, comprising 4 lawmakers, will seek testimony from survivors of alleged sexual abuse at the sprawling property. The commission will also attempt to identify ranch guests and state officials who may have known about or participated in the alleged crimes. Bill sponsor State Representative Andrea Romero, a Santa Fe Democrat, said the subcommittee will use subpoena powers, public records, and testimony to compile a comprehensive account, telling colleagues that New Mexicans
deserve to know the truth about what went on at the Zorro Ranch and who knew about it. And at this point, it is an administrative investigation. So they're trying to collect information that would maybe lead them to criminal search warrants and things. So they have solicited if anybody worked there, if anybody knew anything, any of the women that got picked up by the Gordons, anything, reach out and give your testimony, any records you have, photos, screenshot, anything that might help. Because I think right now they're just trying to drag that and get everything they can. And then from there, but the problem is like between now and when you get a search warrant, what's it going to be? 6 months?
Yeah. What's going to be dug up or gotten rid of by then. Adding urgency to the inquiry, last week, New Mexico's Commissioner of Public Lands wrote to state and federal officials asking them to investigate the disturbing allegation found in the recently released Epstein documents that 2 girls were buried near the ranch. Meanwhile, New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres has assigned a special agent to investigate allegations that may emerge through the commission's work. Truth Commission co-sponsor, Representative Mariana Anaya, is pushing accompanying legislation to extend the state's statute of limitations for childhood sexual assault to allow civil actions by Epstein's survivors.
I think that's the key. That's going to be the key, is more stuff's going to come out in civil cases. Unfortunately, I have a lot of hope in the Truth Commission. I think there's going to be some like irrefutable financial stuff that they'll be able to bust some people on. But for the CSA stuff, I think, unfortunately, that's all the statute of limitations is going to run. But if you could sue them and at least bring your story to light, that might be something.
It's always the money that is what motivates people to take action.
Mm-hmm.
In August 2023, Zorro Ranch was sold to San Rafael Ranch LLC, a company created just 1 month before the purchase. The buyer was revealed to be Don Huffines, a wealthy Texan politician currently running for Texas Comptroller. It was initially listed at $27.5 million and then dropped to $18 million, negotiated down due to the property's notoriety. The ranch has been renamed Rancho de San Rafael. After Epstein's death, armed security guards confronted hikers who wandered too close, holding them at gunpoint until they left the property. Vehicles have also been spotted on property, including machines to dig and move earth. Huffines said he will cooperate with any law enforcement investigation of the property. The underground facilities remain intact. The computer rooms were never examined. The surveillance footage, if it existed, was never collected. The basement with Ghislaine Maxwell's portrait was never searched. Victims say they still wake up at night thinking about what happened in those rooms, and the newly released files show just how bad the abuse was. As for the babies born at the facility, their fates remain unknown. However, the newly released documents point to horrific possibilities. So what do we think?
I think tomorrow they need to have cadaver dogs and ground penetrating radar just out there. I think it is not a waste of taxpayer money. I think if you were a really good billionaire and you really cared, if I had accidentally bought a rape ranch and was like, I was going to make this, I just thought I was getting a good deal on it. First of all, you knew what it was because you got yourself a little discount for how bad the shit was and how the notoriety brought down the value. Then just say, you know what? In a good faith effort, I've hired this third party company, this search and rescue company, and I've told them that there's no price too high. Go on out, find what you can find, because I don't think there's anything there. You know, we've owned it for 2 years, but I'm happy for there to be cadaver dogs and find whatever we can find. He's not going to do that. No. His son works in the White House.
Yeah.
He's not going to do that.
He's also a Trump Republican, his words.
Do that. I think if he was unrelated, but I also wonder if it's vital that somebody that is friendly buys a place like this.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
So
I think that the sell of it was specific to a specific person.
Like, this is somebody who's a buddy of yours. And look at that. You buy the ranch, and wouldn't you know, your son happens to get a job at the White House. Again, I'm sure it's just a happy little coincidence, but
it can't be. I mean, I don't think there are any coincidences when it comes to this. And I think everything is very calculated. And it's like a chess game where everyone is their pawns. And the game is won when, I guess, he achieves the perfect baby, which can then lead to the perfect race. And, you know, I personally don't believe he's dead. So
that's for next episode.
I think this stuff is still going on with or without him. I think it's going on.
Truly. I mean, it's not just Epstein was not the only person interested in a perfect genetic sequence. He's not the only one interested in hacking the genome, hacking the genetic code to be able to figure out longevity, to figure out, you know, cellular death, regrowth, rebirth, whatever. They were several emails in between himself and scientists saying this would be a way to create a baby without any sperm or egg. We could use stem cells and develop. It's scientifically beyond me, but I mean, he's got the greatest minds in the world working on this. So I would be fascinated if anybody's a listener and understands this whole Alice and Bob or the genome decoding and stuff. I haven't been able to wrap my brain around it to understand how it would be helpful for an NSA codebreaker to break down biology. Only that, I mean, I guess we haven't mapped the genome, but it seemed like Epstein and these great minds were in agreement that was kind of the way to go. And I wonder if like the rest of us would get access. I don't think so. I think that they develop things like that for their own personal use. But if there's any, I don't know, movement or something.
Yeah. Their own personal use or the highest bidder.
Yeah, true.
I mean, this would become a quote unquote luxury for, wealthy people that wanted to make sure their kids were good at XYZ or they looked a certain way. And, a code breaker, it's interesting to think of like code for computers breaking down our own code because what are we if not just breathing computers, essentially. So, I mean, it makes sense that you would break it down to see like where you could manipulate it and swap things in and out. I imagine that there's a lot of trial and error. And I wonder if some of those trial and errors are also in those basements and facilities.
I think, yeah, you're right. That's kind of the issue is if you are trying to create a perfect specimen and then it comes out and it's not perfect, you're like, try again, because they really don't view a baby born. I don't think they view anybody that's not on the wealthy elite tier that can offer them something. I think that they truly view us as animals, as kind of nothing, garbage animals, scrape them off kind of thing. So it would not be, I wouldn't be shocked if you told me, well, when they had the baby come out, they did like these 3 tests. And when the baby didn't pass it, they got I wouldn't be surprised that that's how callous they talk about human life. They just, unless you can offer them something or you are on their caliber, their level, those type of thoughts that definitely assumed people it seemed from that essay that people from Africa were lesser than. So, I mean, there is a certain profile of what they respected, and anything under that is just like cattle fodder.
Yeah, I think that it was going on and still is going on. So I think these babies served a lot of purposes. And when they're being cranked out, because you got 20 women just at this facility alone, pregnant all at one time. And like you said earlier, plus everywhere, women that he's somehow collected that are willing to sell their babies to him or, are under his control psychologically to where they feel like, they're his special girl that can be the one to do this, which is what they would tell people too.
Yeah, it's wild to read him just grooming them in text messages. And because, like I said, there's like layers of victims, and some of them ones were like long term, and he would keep them around and, sort of trade them around to his friends and tell them, oh, but you're just doing me a favor, and so many great things. You'll get your dentist license, or you'll get your pilot's license or whatever. And he would follow through on it. But a lot of them just saying like, oh, baby, I think of you and baby this, and I love you. And to him. So I'm sure he also probably, I don't know, perhaps spread his DNA that way, unfortunately.
Yeah,
as well.
Definitely.
Yikes. But all that to come in a future episode.
We have several more that will break this down, and we're still collecting questions. If you have any of things we've discussed, things we haven't discussed that you feel we need to touch on, information that we've discussed today, please send it to us at sinisterhoodpodcast@gmail.com is one way to submit it. You can also go to one of the forums on our website and do so as well.
Yeah, just hit submit a main feed topic and we'll just put it all in that one bucket and we'll get it out of there.
This episode of Sinisterhood is made possible with the help of our amazing patrons.
If you're interested in supporting the show, consider joining our Patreon. You'll get access to ad-free regular episodes, weekly bonus content, you're able to vote on episode topics, join our monthly live streams, and more.
Keep it creepy.
Mwahaha.